Hello and welcome to today's episode of On the Mark Financial Literacy with Mark Zinman. We have Alicia and Pudgy with us here today. Hello, Alicia.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Pudgy has nothing to say?
No.
Okay.
We have Mark with us, of course, today, our host, and I myself am so personally excited and proud to have Dr. Loren Genetti co-hosting with Mark today's episode. Hello, Dr. Genetti.
Hello, thank you guys for having me today.
We're more than excited.
So, Dr. Genetti purchased Weierbach and Genetti Prosthodontics in, you told me, 2021. And so today we'll have the great pleasure of asking you some questions about that experience and how that might help others who are looking to buy a practice either inside or outside of the medical field, and we'll get some lessons learned from you and share your knowledge with everyone.
Sounds great. Always here to help.
Okay.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm going to take you back.
Okay.
Before you started practicing,
You got it.
back to school. So talk to me about your background and anything financial literacy wise or things that you did that got you ready and prepared for the opportunity that came to you later.
Absolutely. So that's a great question. So I was very fortunate to have great parents who, from a very young age, taught my brothers and sister and I just about money. And it could be something as simple as around the kitchen table. You know, we'd have dinner together as a family every night, and just little things would come up, and just talking about savings and, okay, you're babysitting money here, so let's talk about, you know, getting that at a savings account. And my dad's funny, he would joke, he's like, Lauren, you were like 12 years old and you kept hounding me. You're like, Dad, I got to get a money market account. I got to get, like, let's get some savings in here. So very fortunate with that. So having that literacy there. And then just as I went through school, just being cognizant of my money. My dad's an engineer, so I have an engineering brain. I love a good spreadsheet. So I would, you know, kind of just, I didn't have a lot. It was just student loans, but tracking and making sure that, you know, I had some savings and saving a little bit every month if I could, but just keeping an eye on that. And then as, you know, the income grew, that those good habits tended to carry over, and it was really nice to be able to have an idea and not feel out of water getting into the business world.
So the practice you're in now, is that your first job out of school? Or?
No. So I've worked in Philadelphia. I worked at other places as well. But this was an opportunity where it came very, very well, and it's still in shock of how quickly it all happened, but I'm grateful for it.
So tell me about that. How did that come about? Were you working there, and then how the opportunity, you learned about the opportunity?
I learned through a series of events, and again, what I've learned in life and what I tell, I teach dental students and residents as well, so I'll teach them, I'm like, listen, it is about relationships and putting yourself out there, and that's about life, and it doesn't have to be about business, it can just be about different opportunities, whether it be personal or business related. But I was way up in New York, and I knew I wanted to come back to the area because my family's here, and I knew that's where I wanted to settle down. So I was just looking around and happened to be looking on this listing website, not necessarily for a practice to purchase, but just for opportunities to work. And this name kept coming up with this broker. And I was like, you know what, let me reach out to her. So I reached out and just said, hey, I'm looking to come back to the area, kind of this radius. I would love to talk with you. So she emailed me right back and was just like, hey, I would love to have a 10-minute phone call with you. Can we put that together? I want to see what you're looking for.
This was a business broker?
It was a representative, like a dental rep. But I found her through a different avenue. I didn't realize this is what she did. It just happened to be a cold email out to someone, and they were the perfect person for me to meet. But it turns out that she knew at all of Southeast Pennsylvania dental offices there. She's like, I've been doing this for 30 years. I walk into an office, I know them by first name, I give the doctor a hug. So she was the perfect person to talk to. So when I talked with her and told her, hey, I'm a prosthodontist, a dental specialist, she's like, oh, I know who you got to meet. It's this guy off of 30. He's not looking for anybody right now, but you need to talk with him. And just her faith in me from a 10-minute conversation, she can tell where my heart was, that I wanted to help patients, the kind of practice I wanted to have, and something that it was really a place where people can heal and do great dentistry and, you know, make a difference in the world. So she connected me with him, and he's like, hey, I'm not looking. I don't think I have a spot for you, maybe like a day or so. And I'm like, that's fine. I'd love to come in and shadow. So met him and met the team and the practice, and just fell in love with it. I had a vision board of what I wanted my practice to be in the future. I knew I wanted to own eventually, but get some experience out in the world first. And when I realized that practice was my vision board in real life, and having been for 30 years, I was like, I can't believe it. And so talking with him, and we have long conversations. I met him, it was great, and we would have dinners and just talking about talking about life mostly, but philosophies around practice ownership, running a team, taking care of patients in a practice, and having a healthy, well-rounded life to be the ultimate best version to show up for your patients and your team. I'm really grateful for our friendship, and it's been a wonderful journey. So
is he still in the practice, or he retired?
He is on retiring, but we're just doing it in a slow way. We wanted to do it the right way. 4% of practice transitions happen successfully. So it's such a low amount of, we wanted to do it the right way, and we wanted it to make sense. And
Are you and he the only doctors in the practice?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to back up a little bit.
No worries.
So we talked first about your parents when you grew up, and the type of financial literacy they instilled in you and your siblings. Did you have any courses in school?
No. So that's the misnomer, what everybody thinks. You come out of dental school or medical school or optometry school, and you know how to run a business. They teach you nothing.
That's my experience. My experience is that most people who come, and in the medical profession, it could be anything, and in other professions as well, come out with great knowledge and are great at the profession, but don't have any of that background of the financial literacy or how to manage their money, or you said that you had a vision board that you wanted to become owner. Where did that come from, and where did the power of knowing you could do it come from?
Great question. So I knew I wanted to own my practice eventually, and just even if I had to start it or to purchase one, but I wanted to have the autonomy to practice dentistry and run my life the way that I saw it. And unfortunately, with going into a practice, you kind of have to adapt to the way that, let's say, your boss runs things. And that can be as simple as what materials to use. Dentistry, there's so many different materials and way to do the same thing to get to the same result. But what works in somebody's hands doesn't work in somebody else's hands. So the power to be able to choose, no, I know this is an expensive product, but I know it's going to be the best for this case, and to be able to have the power to go on and purchase that and have it for the patient and not have to ask any questions about it. That to me is giving the best for the patient and for the team. Yeah.
So you talked about wanting to have your own practice for a long time before, and you talked about this, at least the basic of this relationship you had with this doctor who is slowly retiring. Can I make an assumption then that the jobs prior to meeting him prepared you for what you liked and didn't like in practices?
Yes, it did. And it was having that, relationship and just seeing from the dynamic of an associate and how, because the team opens up more with you when you're just another doctor working alongside. It's almost like an equal relationship there. But the minute that you're signing the paychecks, it's a different, you don't hear things that you would have heard otherwise, and just understanding what is the hot topics for the team, what really matters to them, what might not so much, and just having that understanding of, okay, so when I become the leader of a practice, I'll make sure that, I'm take care of them in this way, and just having that knowledge to be able to, empathize with them and still do what's best for the practice in that.
So during these meetings you had with the guy who owned the practice, was it immediate come up that was your desire to own a practice? I mean, how did that conversation evolve?
Well, I told him, I think it was our first phone call, it was like 45 minutes, and I was in like the stairwell of and talking with him. But essentially I told him, yeah, eventually I do want to own, but I'd be happy to be an associate and learn all you can, and that's what life is about, learning. And that's essentially what originally our agreement was going to be. It was going to be a 2-year 50% buy-in, and then a 4-year 100% buyout. And
that was after a while, correct? That wasn't immediate.
It was immediate. It was pretty much, he's like, listen, I want to have this, and we wanted to have the associate contract be all written out, so like all the tough conversations or all the decisions were taken care of, so that we didn't have to worry about it, and we can just focus on doing what's best for the patients in the practice and doing dentistry. A lot of the times what I found with associates and my friends, they'll go in with these handshake promises, or they'll go and the doctor's like, yeah, we'll talk about you buying in eventually, and then here they are a year, 2 years later, they bought the house, they're getting established in the community, they have their own patients, and it's, hey, when are we going to talk about this? Well, yeah, we'll get to it. And then they're 4 years in, they're like, come on, you promised me this. So there's a lot of animosity that can form. So we wanted to get that out of the way and not have any questions.
And I would say that probably that's one. So I always tell my clients who get into business, like the first thing is buying the business, and the next day is how you're getting out of the business, because everybody needs a plan, especially in a industry like yours and even mine, where it's personal service, where people associate the work with the person and not necessarily the product.
Yes.
Right. So, but I'm just. You said that originally, when you had your first conversation, you said, "Oh, I might have a day for you." How'd you get from a day to this buyout that you said and the contract?
I think just over those conversations and times, and I asked him about this later, and he's like, it was just a gut thing. It was a gut. I knew you're the right person. He apparently walked into the office manager, was like, I found her. And she's like, her? He's like, yeah, I found who's going to take this practice on. So really, it was a leap of faith on his part and on my part too.
So what you're defining and what we talk about is, there was a culture match.
Yes.
So basically, the office was being run, and the attitude and the temperature of the office was, and the way they treated patients, all aligned. There wasn't a lot of adjustment or compromise that you had to do on what you wanted to do.
No,
That's great.
We got very, very lucky.
Okay, so now you started these conversations.
Yep.
You wanted to buy.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't want to buy, so we were going to do the 2 and the 4 eventually.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, good. No,
yeah, and then it was one day, he gave me a call because we were waiting, because we're going through the contract and back and forth with the attorneys, and he called me and he's like, hey, how do you buy this thing in 90 days? And I was like, I didn't even start yet. What are you talking? Like, are you dying? Like, are you okay? And he's like, no, it's a gut thing. He's like, I know you're the right person for the job. I still have some years in me left. Let's do it now. I'll be your associate, and we'll, slowly transition this practice over to you. I'll be here. I'll be supporting you 100% of the way. And yeah, he took that leap of faith, and I was like, okay, let's do this. So he had never sold a practice. I've never bought one. So I was like, how do we do this? So I bought a book, and I read the book. And then I hired the person that wrote the book.
What book?
I didn't know you could do that.
So what book was this?
It was How to Purchase a Dental Practice by Brian Hanks.
Okay.
And I read it, and it's pretty much a checklist of like, okay, these are the things that you're looking for when you're finding practice. This is finances, this is this. And at the back, he's like, if you want to talk with me or hire me, let me know. And I'm like, okay. So I talked with him, and he put me in touch with an amazing attorney who just focuses on dentistry. And if that's anything I can recommend, is if you're doing a purchase in your industry, see if there's an accountant or lawyers who specialize in dentistry or are specialized in your field, because there could be nuances that are just a checklist to them, whereas somebody else like if it's your uncle is an attorney, he might not understand the nuances that go into.
Did he bring that accountant to you as well? You said attorney, but he also.
Yeah, the accountant connected me with the attorney, and she was a rock star. Shout out to Ashley. But she and I were going back and forth, and it was really a great time. It was a huge learning opportunity for me, and it all worked out. It was a lot of people helped me get there. And
So how did you guys agree on a price? I mean, what challenges did you have in negotiating that?
There wasn't too many challenges, honestly. His attorney had done an evaluation, and then I had my accountant look at it as well. And it was really just us working together and, talking with the banks, getting the financing. And he had a lot of connections in the area. And Lancaster community is a small-knit community, and we all take care of each other. So it was really just he was established. I mean, they looked at the practice and they're like, yeah, no, this is a no-brainer. They met me, and his installation and confidence in me really helped just move the process along.
And how did you find the bank, and what challenges or surprises did you have in that financing
He had introduced me to a few of them, and I had reached out to some as well. And if that's another piece of advice, if anybody's going through this process, is just to be as organized as possible. I must have talked to, he had 2 or 3 that he presented to me, and then I talked to, 4 or 5 other ones on my own. And I documented every conversation and, had it all organized in my iPad and a notebook. And it'll be, if you go through a purchase, and the people who do, or opening up your own practice, you realize how many different brokers and how many different people you talk to in a day. I mean, my calendar was jam-packed. If you open up those months, I'm like, it's all blue. I'm like, oh my God. But staying organized really helped with that. But as far as surprises with the financing, it was pretty straightforward. I asked a lot of questions. I, really leaned on the professional advice of the people in my network. And it was incredible. I'm really grateful for it.
So it sounds like you ended up maybe talking to 5 to 8 banks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of banks. Only depends that what was the message from the bank you chose that made you choose that bank as opposed to the other 7?
Honestly, it was the small town and the relationships. So the bank that I chose was a local one, and having the relationships, and that they had a close relationship with the accounting firm that I was going to use, and just realizing that I was building my network. I didn't care if somebody gave me like maybe a 1 or 2% interest better. It was more of, what, the difference matters to me in the relationships, and knowing that I could pick up the phone or I can go across the street and talk to somebody if I have an issue or a problem in the future, and they're going to take care of me.
So you're describing the relationship you have with the banker.
The banker, the accountants, everybody, yes.
And I share this with all my listeners and my clients, that we talk about more investment people, because people, say like, I want somebody who constantly beats the market or whatever. And I always say, if that person knew as much as you think they know, they would have picked all the winners and be on a beach in the south of France. So
fortune tellers don't win.
Every single thing, when it comes to a lawyer, an accountant, a banker, and any professional, is always going to be how you interact with them, because nobody's better than someone else. It's just more the way they communicate with you, and the way they make you feel, and the way that you're not a pain in the ass, that you're not too small, too big. I mean, people describe these things, and I know that from the point of view of like, we obviously get clients from other accountants, that relationship is very hard. They always feel like they're missing something. Like, why get audited because they changed accountants? Will he not help me, or she not help me anymore? And you have to sort of explain how professionals work. And for the most part, people in our profession are pretty good. Yeah. And I know, like, from my point of view, like, if somebody was to leave me, I don't want them saying anything bad about me. And I can't tell you how many clients have left for one reason or another and going to come back for this, for the fact that they didn't get what they expected when they left. So you have to leave that door always open.
I tell my students, I pick up my phone and I go, your network is your net worth. It's, being able to pick up the phone and be like, hey, I got this issue. Even I call Monica, I'll be like, Monica, I got this going. Can you submit this statement for me? And she's like, yep, I got you. No worries. Go do dentistry. I'm like, okay, bye. So
did you buy part of the practice, all the practice at one time?
100%.
So from day one, you owned 100% of the practice.
Yes.
And was this an SBA loan, a conventional loan? What was the? Was there any?
It was a conventional business loan.
Okay. Yeah. And what was the most challenging part of the acquisition?
Honestly, it was surprising. That was the things that I thought would be hard were easy, and the stuff that I thought would be easy was hard. And it could be something as simple like getting the financing. It was, okay, here, sign here. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then the hard thing was like getting a simple insurance policy to go through. And like everything was good. It was just going on the company. So I think that was the most surprising. And it's funny, whenever I have friends who are like, oh, I'm thinking of buying a practice, I go, sit down, I'm going to tell you the things they don't tell you. And that's one of them. It's just be comfortable being uncomfortable, figuring things out, trying not to get frustrated, just, keep your eye on the prize and keep moving forward, and, lean on the professionals who are helping you do that.
Which I really liked was that you had parents who were open and honest about financial literacy, so there wasn't like unknowns, that you early on decided and set a goal for yourself, your vision board that you discussed, that you hired and you sought out professionals that you felt you could work with and who would guide you in a positive manner and be able to inform you of all the pitfalls. And probably the most important thing I heard, which we sort of just skimmed over was your organization. Your skills of organizing, keeping records, almost like a CRM, a customer relations manager of the conversations and the meetings you had to be able to go back and evaluate and not say, well, yeah, I remember talking to that person, but what exactly did they say versus what somebody else said? So those are all just really wonderful things to hear.
Yes.
Okay, so now we bought a practice. What was the most surprising thing about running a practice?
That is a great question. I think just absorbing it and showing up every day and realizing as the CEO, as the boss, as a leader in the practice, you really set the tone. And I think they don't talk about that enough, because when you go in, you're like, oh, I'm the boss, you immediately get respect, you immediately, have all the answers. Your team can know more about this. They know more about this place than you do, especially if you're acquiring a practice. So really leaning on your team to help show you, like, hey, what's worked. And they say the first 90 days, don't change anything. Don't change the wall color. Don't change the paintings. Don't do anything different, and really just absorb what you can. Another piece of advice is, like, if you do want to change something, and like, I'm a doer. So you write it down. You just write it down and then visit that back in a month or two and see, okay, you know what? I see why they do it this way and not the way that I thought. So let's continue to do it that way. Or no, I really think this is a better way. Let's see when we can bookmark that to change it. So about setting the tone for how you walk into the office. Like every morning I kind of reset and I go, okay, we're going to be calm today. You got to be that calm in a storm, right? And no matter what's going on or what emergencies pop up, they're looking to you how to react. And it's very much of it's a weight on your shoulders. It's a big responsibility, but once you realize it's also a privilege to do what we get to do every day, it's.
So was there anything, obviously from the professional side, you already were established and comfortable. Was there anything from the business side that you found more challenging than something else, or was surprising at all?
Just navigating, something as simple as like bills and, insurance policies and things like that. I mean, we're fee for service, not insurance in that way, but just, 401k and learning all that and trying to absorb it. And where it might seem simple to someone else, for me, it's the first time. So again, relying on those professionals to, hey, I'm new to this. Would you be able to, and they're like, would you be able to come in and like kind of teach me like I'm a kindergartner? That's my favorite say. I was like, pretend I'm 5 years old, explain the 401k process to me and what I need to do every year to make that legit. And they're like, yeah, no. And people have been more than welcome. Yeah, let me come to the office. So we'll sit, we'll have lunch, and they'll discuss, they'll have explanations and binders. And it's been an incredible thing. And then you make these relationships and you have their personal cells, and you pick up your phone if you have a question or guide your office manager to talk with them. And so yeah, really just understanding the logistics of running a business and seeing how it runs, and just like with the finances, making sure your cash flow is there so that the bills get paid. I'm a big advocate of just pay your bills when they come in so you don't have to worry about them, and once you get in the right cash flow and the frame of it, it just works. And my labs are very appreciative and the vendors are very appreciative that they get paid they get paid on time, and it's just one thing off my brain and I can just keep moving forward.
So how did you, was there a communication of the that you became an owner to the patients, and how was that handled?
So we let the team know. Honestly, they knew it was happening. It was a process over about 8 months, before we got the financing and we got the contracts in order. But I remember we had a consult with a patient, we finished it, and we walked out. We had afternoon huddle, and we went, okay, guys, we're going to the bank. This is happening today, because it was so last minute. We didn't know if it was happening or not. So we let the team know, and then we went at the bank, went out, celebrated, had like the best time. We had like dinner and drink. It was great. And then we put out a letter out to the community of not only our referral sources and the dentists in the community, but also to the patients. And it was really great because we were able to insert an article that was written about us. We advertised on the back of the Lancaster magazine, and they had done an article as a courtesy because we've been a client for so long, and written just a nice article about me joining the practice and going out. And we geared it more towards we didn't emphasize on the practice because we wanted it to be a clean transition, as far as not get everybody like, oh, he's retiring. Like, no, he's still there and he still wanted to be a big part of it. And I was fine with that because, again, getting my feet on and getting established in the community was key. So we decided to do that together, and, just wrote a letter. He wrote a little letter up top saying how much he enjoys practicing and he's still going to be here and he's excited for me to join. And then I wrote a letter as well, and we just put it in a nice, pamphlet, professionally printed, and sent it out to the community.
I think that is like one of the most important things, especially in a service business where they just worried about what happens if that person. And so I think you and he should be commended, because I think you handled it exactly the way you need to handle it in order not only to maintain the patients you have, but also to make them comfortable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's our focus.
So what is the biggest difference between working for someone and working on your own?
Great. That's a great question. So it's the autonomy, and to be able to help the patients in the way I want. And it's just, like I said, the materials, being able to, say, oh, we have this new technology, how about we try this out? I learned this, and let's do it. And to be able not to have to ask somebody for that or to get somebody a side eye. And then also something as simple as like helping a patient out. If somebody comes in, we have a wide range of patients and coming from different backgrounds, and to be able to work with them and say, okay, well, if you pay over this amount of time, or, oh, if we do this and that, and to be able to have the autonomy to say that. And it's really funny because sometimes I'll joke with my team. I was like, oh, we'll have to check with the boss on that one. What do you think? I think it's a great idea. And the patients appreciate that, and then it's not this whole rigmarole to get through. Exactly. But
it's funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's empowering. It's a privilege. It's a responsibility. But I ultimately love it, and I'm grateful for it.
Wonderful. So if somebody else was thinking about going out on their own, what advice would you have for them?
That is a great question. Make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. A lot of people think, oh, I'm working for this person, I'm making this, but if I buy the practice, I can own this and get this much more money. That difference, you earn it. You earn every dollar of it. And in the beginning, you might not be paid, and you need to have your own personal savings for that. But also you're paying with your heart lining. I can't you can talk to any business owner, those sleepless nights where you're laying in bed and it's 2 a.m. and you're like stressing out about something going on, or, having the weekend phone calls or the late night phone calls. It's something that you have to handle.
Nodding in agreement.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I love talking to business owners, because unless you go through it, you don't.
Laying in bed and recounting a conversation you had earlier, and you wish you did it just a little differently.
Are they going to respond this way? I'm not sure. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
I really didn't mean it the way I think they took it. Email's the most evil. I tell my and you don't maybe necessarily deal with it, but I always tell my staff, like, you can email only so many times before you pick up the phone, because emails tone and content always, sometimes it's tough.
I'm always for face-to-face. I'm always for on a phone call. It's an art that's dying, but I don't think it should be, and I try to hold.
I will tell you, for
life.
younger people,
Yeah.
it is a challenge. It's not so much that I think people like my generation, and you sound like you're maybe not always the exact same as everybody in your generation. You're more mixed. We were taught first, because the writing part was writing a letter. We didn't have email when I first started out in business. So I think, but with people with the texting and the emails, just another form of texting, and so they have to learn when to call.
Yes.
It's not that they don't want to. It's just that they, for some reason.
And it's an uncomfortable thing. I remember when I was a kid, and my mom was like, "No, you can call that store and ask them if they have it." And I remember I was like rehearsing what I was going to say, and I like picked it up, and like I messed up, and I didn't ask them the right question, and I hung up, and then she's like, "We'll call them back." I'm like, what are they going to think of me? She's like, "Loren, they're on the other side of the phone, like 2 hours away. Like, don't worry about it." I'm like, oh, and just realizing that every human being on this planet is just trying to get home at the end of the day, and we're all just humans helping humans. So once you realize like the pressure's kind of off, and it's just have a conversation, just ask people how their days are going, and it's amazing the knowledge you can get and the relationships you can form from that.
I should have started out with this.
No worries.
But what exactly is a prosthodontist? Because I'm sure, like myself, we don't always know what the ists are.
Exactly. No. And it was funny. My brother-in-law was like, "It sounds like a dinosaur person." I'm like, "Yeah, it does."
Funny. That's what I said yesterday. I said, is it a Tyrannosaurus?
T-Rex.
Yeah. That is pretty funny. I was saying to somebody last night, because I was talking about interviewing you today. I said, "Oh, I wonder if that's like a dinosaur."
A dental dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's a dental specialist. So there's a number of specialties in dentistry, and prosthodontics happens to be one of them. It is a extra training, so I went to school for 11 years, and I earned my 11s, and it is I like to say an architect of the mouth. So we are reconstructing smiles and for complex cases or aesthetics too. So if people want whiter teeth or veneers and are really aesthetic focused, that's when you go to a prosthodontist. We also are a resource in our community for our general dentists. So the way I like to describe it is, if you have a heart issue, you don't go to your PCP or your general physician to have that heart issue taken care of. You go to a cardiologist. So it's the same issue. General dentist, they're amazing. We need them. And if there's something that's complex or needs more attention, that's when they refer out to us. And we either work with them to help them with the treatment, or the patient comes to our office. So it's more reconstructive. So we work like anything from simple crowns to veneers to dental implants and reconstruction of the smile to cancer patients and helping them get through their treatments, what's happening.
So is most of your referrals come from dentists or from the...
Yes, I would say half are from dentists and then half are from our website. What I love about our practice is we're a boutique practice and we have a lot to offer. And it's funny, when I'm explaining to people, I'm like, oh my gosh, we do a lot. So we not only specialize in dentistry and implants, but also in TMJ. And there's not a lot of specialists out there. So we'll have people coming from 2 hours away because they saw on our website, oh, they treat TMJ. Oh my gosh, I've been having this pain. We also do sleep dentistry. So I passed my board certification for sleep dentistry, and I am able to help people get better sleep and sleep apnea.
Night cards or...
Exactly, yes. So gold standard is a CPAP, but then a lot of patients can't handle that or they don't want to, so then we're the next step, and we'll make a mouth guard for them to open up their airway. So we work with the pulmonologist in the area. They know to refer to us, and that we have great communication back and forth.
Now, this is part of the interview where I say, Monica, what didn't I ask?
I think you covered a lot of great information. Dr. Genetti, could you share with our viewers and our listeners your website, your contact information, so that they can get a hold of you if your services would be of value to them?
Absolutely. So I'm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We're Weyerback and Genetti Prosthodontics. Our website is yourclassicsmile.com. You can find us on our website, Google, Facebook, Instagram. We update cases there, things in the community that we're doing as well. And we're essentially here for anyone who needs our services. If you have been struggling with dentistry, if you feel like you've met the end of the road and you don't have any answers, or you're just confused, we like to be a place of calm and healing for patients. We take time with you. We're fee for service, so we have the time to sit with you and discuss your story, and we want to hear it, and we want to be able to help you see what options you are. We say our patients are in the driver's seat. We're just in the passenger seat. You tell us where you want to go, and we'll tell you which ways we can get there.
Well, I want to thank you for being here. I think your story is both great and powerful, and I think that people in the audience really should relate to it. And it sounds to me, like you've done everything the right way in how you organized your business. So kudos to you. Kudos to your mom and dad for giving you a nice, powerful basis. Thank you very much.
And Dr. Genetti, kudos to you for, your education, your credentials, your skills, knowledge, abilities, experience, and not just your professional credentials, but also just as a human being. I've had the great pleasure of, us being in a similar network, and you just are a pleasure to work with. And when you talk about building relationships and how important that is, I just would like to tag team on that and say, you make it easy to have a positive relationship with you. You make someone want to chit-chat with you or collaborate with you. And so another lesson learned that maybe some other people would benefit from is, as you build those relationships, it's not that you're consuming what someone else can offer, but you are reciprocating and offering them kindness and support as well. And you really yourself could write a book on that. Just very impressive human being, personally and professionally.
I think Monica's offered to edit.
But so thank you for everything you offer to your patients in the community.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do too.
So we want to thank everybody for tuning into today's episode. Please provide your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like the video and to subscribe to the channel. Wishing everyone a good rest of the day, and we will be sure to catch you next Wednesday. All content provided on this podcast is for informational purposes only. No representations are made as to the accuracy or completeness of information that is presented. On the Mark, its owners, collaborators, and guests will not be liable for any errors or omissions, nor for any losses, injuries, or damages from the use of this information.